board. This is the Ohio Writers Guild, and we are going to be talking with Brittany Crawford tonight. And oh my gosh, I was just telling Brittany that Sylvie wants to know, is Ohio Writers Guild on Facebook? Yes, we have a Facebook group, but we are not streaming live on Facebook tonight. This is just on the Zoom call, and then we will have a replay. But I Googled Brittany, and I was telling her she's the whole first page of Google, all of these different interviews she's had and the books that she's written. And so how exciting. I'm just so excited about that. My name is Kathy Benner, and I am the actual moderator, facilitator of this particular Zoom call tonight. And Sandy is with us, and Sandy is my co-moderator, my co-host, if you will. And so while I have that in mind, I'm going to jump over, and Sandy, I am going to actually make you co-host officially. That way you have all the same duties that I have in case I should get bumped off the call. Yeah. There's somebody that's left on the call. So we didn't want to leave Brittany hanging out there all by herself. Yeah. So anyway, so now we are both co-hosts in that way, because sometimes the Wi-Fi gets a little goofy and it kind of bumps you out and you have to come back in. And so that's happened a time or two. So that's why I always like to have a co-moderator and a co-host. So before we get started talking to Brittany, though, I do want to catch up with Sandy a little bit. She just came off of a long weekend here just a weekend or so ago of a writer's workshop. And Sandy, tell us about that just a bit for folks that are tuning in maybe for the first time or listening to this replay, so that they can connect with you maybe for next year. So
sure. Sandy. Yes. It happened just this weekend, and I'm still giddy about it. It started in 2018 by someone else, and they passed it on to me, and I've renamed it, reshaped it, and it's invigorating. I had 3 wonderful authors, John Kachuba, Raul Ramos, and Juliet Highland, from different genres and different areas of which they're experts. I had 30 people, and not bad at all. We were in the Mills Park Hotel in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and I cannot recommend them enough. It was almost like they were a part of my team. They were so helpful, and it's a beautiful little spot to have everything I needed for this. People walked away invigorated. What I was hoping is that wherever they were in the step of their writing journey, that they got information that will take them to their next step. And they felt like that too, whether it was just to be refreshed, or how do I start this thing called writing professionally, or I really need help with my website or something like that. I think we had enough to do all that. Folks are eager to return, which is always good, because I am building it, and I've put it in the hotel to expand it, and I think that's going to work out. We had an open mic reading night for the first time on Saturday night. It needs a little tweaking, but everybody liked doing it. And I had 2 actors come on board to read anybody's work. You know, we're isolationists, more or less, and not all of us love to write stories, but we don't necessarily like to read them aloud to strangers in an audience. So 2 young men and a woman were up for options, and a lot of folks took advantage of that too. Next year is going to be equally exciting and probably much bigger, because 2 friends of mine, one, he and I are in writing group together, Jason Sanford, who does science fiction, multiple finalists for Nebula, which is the top prize in the Science Fiction Writers of America awards, and other ones as well. Excellent writer. He knows short stories. He knows how to work with Patreon, and that's what I'm going to use him for. The other person is Jane Friedman. I don't know if nobody knows Jane Friedman, you better look her up. She also is an acquaintance of mine. She used to be editor-in-chief of the group that owned Writer's Digest, and she knows publishing from the very beginning. Now she's all about using all the various steps. She's got topics, 20, 30 out there. Look her up, JaneFriedman, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll probably want to come if I have a seat for you, which I hope that's going to be a problem. Anyway.
I hope so, because we were traveling this year and I wanted to attend and we were traveling and I didn't get to. So hopefully next year.
That's fine. That's fine. We had a good size. Everybody really enjoyed it, but I'll put their names in the chat. And if you want to look them up, that's great too. But yes.
And you have the dates for next year?
I do. It's the same full August, 1st August. It's August 4th through the 6th.
Okay.
2023 at the Mills Park Hotel. And I'll send things out. If you know me online, let me know that you want to be connected through a newsletter in which I have one a month starting in January until we're ready to roll. So anyway, but thank you, Kathy. That's how we met. You allowed me to come on and talk up my program, and I appreciate that. And I think it worked out too. So thanks.
Well, and you know what? It's a match made in heaven, because most of our listeners are either new authors or wannabe authors, or they're wanting to get started. And we have some seasoned authors. And so thank you if you are. Thank you for being with us. We do have a Facebook group called the Ohio Writers Guild, and we do have a meetup group also called the Ohio Writers Guild. So you could go to facebook.com and find us. You can go to meetup.com and find us. And so we will put our events on both of those group platforms. So that way you can find out every time we have an event. And I'll invite Sandy to also put her event on there. She can actually create an event and actually put it right on those two actual groups. And again, it's meetup.com and facebook.com. Both are under Ohio Writers Guild. So let's move on and talk with Brittany. I'm so excited. So Brittany has written Tilly and the Terrible Tornado. That's her second book. And she also has a book called I Sit in a Wheelchair, But I Will Be Okay. Both of those can be found on Amazon. And since I looked her up, what I didn't know is that she has written several more. She's got a total of 6 books, actually. So how impressive is that? I'm just now I've published a lot of like short stories and ebooks, but I am just now getting published. My first official book being published launches on September 6th. And so I'm a brand new author. And look at Brittany. She's already got 6. So good for her. Now, her interest in writing began in the 6th grade when an essay was published in her school newspaper. Her main intent in writing is to help people become the best that they can be. So Brittany, hats off to you. She resides in Skiatook. I had to ask her how to pronounce that. Skiatook, Oklahoma. And when Brittany is not writing, she can be found volunteering at Lakeview Early Learning Academy in Skiatook. She is also very active in the Skiatook Christian Church and Skiatook Special Olympics. And so welcome, Brittany. So quite an impressive little bio there. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on. I ran across your name in one of another writers group. It was a different writers group that you're in or a member of, or somebody had mentioned your book or whatever. And that's how I discovered you. And then I kind of looked you up and sent you an email, and here we are. So tell us about your journey. Back, what was it, 6th grade? Is that when you decided that you wanted to start writing? Tell us about that.
Yes. Like the bio said, I was in my reading class, and my reading teacher, Mrs. Wagner, wanted us to write an essay on what it was like to have a handicap. I don't like to say disabled because I'm not disabled. I'm able-bodied.
I get it. I get it.
Yes. And I already have cerebral palsy, and I've had since birth. So I decided to go for today as a blind person. And hats off to those who have vision challenges, because, wow, I don't know how I managed to go throughout that day without majorly injuring myself. That
how brave was that? Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I bumped into more than a few doors, let's just say. And I wrote the essay, and she liked what I wrote, and she pulled me aside to her desk a sixth grader and says, I want to put this in the high school newspaper.
As
And
a
I'm
sixth grader. Okay.
and I'm like, wow, this is neat. Well, the paper came out a month later. And boy, the first time I saw my words in print, I was like, wow. And people told me, kids came up to me and told me how good this was and that I had inspired them to do good things. And I'm just blown away.
Well,
So
Brittany, I get to launch September 6th. And so I haven't had that experience yet of seeing my words in print and anybody telling me they read what I actually wrote. So I'm looking forward to what that feels like.
yes, and later in my high school career, that same article that was published in the school newspaper, I was editor of that same school newspaper for 2 years, my junior and senior year of high school.
Good for you. Good for you. So what motivated you, or when did you finally decide that you're actually going to write a book and publish a book? How many years passed between when you were there in high school as an editor and then finally saying, I'm going to write a book?
It was just after I had graduated college.
Okay.
And I was wondering what to do with my life because, okay, I had this liberal arts degree, but I couldn't drive a car. I wanted to go to school to study journalism, but
Okay.
I would also have to go to a program where I would have to live on campus. And with me not being able to drive a car, that was kind of going to prove difficult. So I went another way and just decided to focus on writing. And I said, I can write a book. And then I have a mentor. Her name is Beverly Deeker. She was my high school English teacher in 10th grade. And she was like, you can do this. I know you can. So she kind of got me started on the writing a story based on my life, only a little child version. So
okay. We all need someone like her giving us a little nudge. Yes.
She's beautiful. She's amazing.
She saw something in you, obviously. And so you wrote your story, but you turned it into a children's book so that you could help other children that's going through some of the same things that you had to go through.
Right. Because, children with handicaps are the main targets of bullies and teasing. And I was also teased and bullied, and I didn't want other kids to have to go through what I went through.
Well, I hope you go back to your class reunions and say, how do you like me now, with 6 books published?
Cool.
I love that. I love that. Listen, if you're listening in the audience, please put your comments or chats into the chat box so that we can share them with Brittany and answer any questions that maybe come to mind as you're listening. And so then at that point, you decided you were going to write your very first book. So your very first book was the one about being in a wheelchair. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so how hard was it for you to actually write that and get it published?
Oh, wow. It took probably about 2 or 3 years in order to, from the time I started writing the book to finding a publisher, to finding an illustrator, because I had to find my very own illustrator, because these publishing companies want to charge outrageous prices for illustrations. And on my search for an illustrator, I happened to find a good friend of mine too. We became friends over time. That I was introduced to Michelle Oakley, my very good friend now. That she's a phenomenal artist.
Okay.
And my other high school English teacher, Terry Cruz, knew her mom, Deanna, and then we all just kind of got together one day and said, "Hey, here's Brittany. Well, here's Michelle. Michelle, would you like to illustrate this book for Brittany?" Well, I've never illustrated a book in my life, but she did, and she's done amazing.
And you had never written a book in your life, so
That's
what
right.
what a perfect partnership there, collaboration that
Right.
happened. And so what I want to say is, all of you teachers out there that are listening to this story, you are making a difference in your students' lives. So don't ever think that you're not making a difference. You are making a huge difference. And Brittany is living proof of the difference that teachers can make in your life. So again, that's a great story. Now, how did you know when you were actually ready to write a book? What made you know that you were ready to actually write and publish a book?
Well, when Beverly Deeker, she wrote on one of my high school English essays, "You're going to be a star someday, kiddo." Yeah.
Again, that those teachers, they're so important. You know, I was telling myself that I was going to be an author someday. I even have a jean jacket. I don't have it with me today. And I've got a little badge that says future author on a little badge. And I've been wearing that. I'm 66 years old. I've been wearing that a lot of years, trying to convince myself that I was ready. And so I'm finally going to get published. Finally, I needed to put my money where my mouth was and just do it. So, so I get it. So for you to just know that you were ready. Now, how did you, or how do you find time? You have 6 books under your belt. How do you find time to actually do the writing? That seems to be such a problem for so many folks. And I know the folks that are listening, we may have some authors. Put in the chat if you're already published, for those of you that are listening, and or those that want to be. Put either I'm an author or I want to be. so we see who we have in the audience. But anyway, at that point, so many people say, I don't have time. I want to write, but I don't have time. How did you carve that out? Or what does your writing schedule look like?
Well, funny you should ask that, because I am not only a writer, as the bio said, I volunteer at Lakeview Early Learning Academy in Skiatook. I volunteer with preschool, infants, 2-year-olds, and I do this about 3 days a week. And I also chalk paint. I also do Special Olympics. So sometimes and volunteer with the church. So sometimes I bite on a little more than I can chew. So I have to carve time out and say, hey, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write so many pages. Well, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes I will be sitting on my couch watching TV, getting a wild idea in my brain, and I have to go write it down. I have notepads beside my bed at night.
Okay.
So I can, because some good ideas come to me in the middle of the night.
Doesn't that happen to all of us at some time or another? Ryan says, did you have a plan for each day on how many pages to write, or is it more of when you find the inspiration? And
no, it was more of when I found the inspiration. And once I stopped getting that inspiration, I had to walk away. I couldn't just sit there, and it would be like a car and getting a wheel stuck in the mud.
Good analogy. Yes, I get it. Well, Sandy is an author, more nonfiction than fiction. Steve has published 2 books so far, and Sylvia has had several poems published in 2 local, it looks like chapbook collections in the late 80s, early 90s. So yes, we have some writers in the group. So yes, welcome. So
yes, welcome.
So tell us a little bit about your books. Tell us, what are some of the titles and what are they actually about?
Okay. Well, the one that started it all was I sit in a wheelchair, but I will be okay. And my first one in a series. It's my weather series for kids. It's called Tilly and a Terrible Tornado. That was actually based on a true story. In April of 2019, I was volunteering at another place that has since shut down, and it was called Head Start. And I was volunteering with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and there was a tornado warning announced for our local county. And, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, I kind of get excited about stuff like that. So, and some of them were scared and some of them were crying. So I said, before I even left the room, and teachers had left the room first, but before I had even left the room, I managed to grab a book. I think it was Little Bo Peep or Billy Goat's Gruff or something like that. I don't really remember now, but imagine 90 children and 12 adults and 3 administrators in a storm shelter. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's quite a lot of people. And yes. So the teachers are on their phones trying to watch the weather and trying to keep parents, okay, your child is okay, don't come and get them until we say so, because we don't want you out in a tornado either. And I thought, okay, nobody's really talking to the kids here, so I'm going to do something. So I picked up the book and started reading. And then I had him laughing, and then we started singing.
Wow. What a heart you have, Brittany. Wow. How cool is that?
And yeah, I just thought, okay, we got to do something with these kids. So
you saw the power in actually reading a book. And so is that when you said, if I write books, I want to have a message for these kids, for children's books?
Because, kids are scared of a lot of different things, tornadoes, the dark, and I want to show kids it's okay to be afraid, and we don't have to be afraid because we will always be taken care of.
Wow. That is so powerful. Your message is so powerful. So what age group do you primarily write for, Brittany?
Well, I say that anybody can learn from these books, but I primarily 1st through 5th grade.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I've even had folks purchase these books and put them up for when their children got older. And I've even had some purchase and read to children that was younger than 1st grade. So everybody gets something out of it.
Yes. Go through and tell us your titles. Can you tell us your titles off the top of your head?
Certainly. Okay. Tilly and the Terrible Tornado is my first one. Tilly and the Ferocious Flood is my second one. That was also based on a true story. Tilly and the Electrifying Thunderstorm is my third one. And Percy was introduced in my latest book, and that's Tilly's cousin. And I said, Percy and the Powerful Pandemic for that one, because when we were in the midst of the pandemic, our Head Start facility shut down, which I understood. Mm-hmm. But I wanted, but the kids didn't know what was going on. I mean, some of these kids were 3 years old, 4 years old. They had no idea why they were staying at home all the time. They were getting bored. And so not only did I write a book about that, but I also, about every other day, I would turn on Facebook and I would do a live video for the children and do like a letter of the day, color of the day, song of the day, or what, and just spend a few minutes talking with them.
I see now why when I Googled your name, you're the whole first page. I see why. Oh, Brittany, what a heart you have for these kids. And so I imagine that that makes writing the children's stories a little easier because you do have a heart for the children.
Yes, it does. Some of these stories just come to me. In my next book in that series is going to be Tilly and the Horrible Heat Wave, because this summer has been brutal.
Yes.
108-degree temperatures some days in Oklahoma. I mean, come on now.
Wow. Wow. So tell us in the chat, we've got, again, we've got an audience there. Tell us in the chat where you are tuning in from. And I'm going to put over in the chat, my name, of course, is Kathy. And I am actually tuning in from Florida. And I'm normally in Ohio. I'm normally in Columbus, Ohio, but I'm actually in Florida. Ryan is in Cincinnati, Ohio. And let me see, Steve is Columbus, Ohio. Ryan is Cincinnati. I'm in Florida. I'm normally Columbus, Canal Winchester. Sandy is in Springfield, not too far from Columbus. Of course, Brittany is in Oklahoma with the heat wave. Yeah. So, okay. Sylvia is also in Columbus, Ohio. So we have some Columbus folks there. Yeah. And again, this is the Ohio Writers Guild. So that does not surprise me that we have a lot of Ohio folks there. But we are, you know, we want to be open to whoever wants to join the Ohio Writers Guild. And so, so please invite your friends to tune in. And again, you can go to the Facebook page under Ohio Writers Guild and see all of our events, or you can go to meetup.com and go to Ohio Writers Guild and see all of our events. So Brittany, what kind of plans do you have for the future? Or do you just plan on to continue to write? Are you getting into anything else with your profession? Are you doing any speaking or any traveling, anything else, or just writing? What's in your future plans?
Well, I haven't been able to travel much since the pandemic because I do have cerebral palsy and I cannot drive a car, and you would not want to see me drive a car because that's just, you know, but I have people drive me to speaking engagements whenever possible,
Okay.
but sometimes that's not always possible. So I do a lot of, I speak to a lot of schools through Zoom, or I have in the past. I speak to a lot of schools through Zoom. And so any teachers out there in Ohio, if you would like to get in touch with me, please do. Because I love speaking about these books. And yes, I am, it's very slow going because I am volunteering and doing all the things, but I am writing book number 5 in the Tilly series, Tilly and the Horrible Heat Wave. I don't have an estimated date for it to be out yet because I don't even know.
Okay, I get it. I understand.
Yes.
Now, one of our gifts to you, Brittany, for being on with us today is we have a little speakers cabinet where we will list you as one of our speakers. And hopefully, as folks come around on different podcasts, they visit our speakers cabinet to see who is available. So you may be getting some phone calls or some connection there. So yes. So anyway, we will make a connection there in our speakers cabinet. And so that's our gift to you for being on. Now, I have some folks in the audience. Anybody else that would like to be interviewed on the Ohio Writers Guild, because I see we have some writers there, just get in touch with me, kathybinner.com. You can contact me right through my website, and I'll just put on there kathybinner.com, and get in touch with me if you would like to also be a guest on the Ohio Writers Guild. And then our gift to you too, to help promote your message and to help promote Brittany's message, is to put you in our writers cabinet so that folks that are podcasters looking for guests, they will visit our cabinet. And I think all of our speakers so far has had several invitations since they've been in the cabinet. So anyway, that's our gift for anyone that wants to join us. So Brittany, how can our listeners connect with you? How can they find you? What is a good way for them to reach you?
Okay. I have several ways. My Facebook page, the Tilly Green book series. And you
Okay.
can also look me up as Brittany M. Crawford on Facebook. And I do have an email, which I can put in the comments if.
Okay.
And yeah, but Facebook is the easiest way to contact me.
And so just an instant message then?
Yes.
Okay.
An instant message or
direct message. Okay.
direct message, that would be great.
Now, is the email the same one that I have for you?
Yes.
Okay. So it's Taz_lover 74330 at yahoo.com.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let me put that over here in the chat. So it's TAZ and then the underscore. And again, whoops, I'm a little bit of a disadvantage because I'm not at a desk. Okay. And the number there is 74330, 74330 at yahoo.com. All right. Did I get that right? TazLover 74330 at yahoo.com. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's for Brittany. So contact me at kathybinner.com. Contact Brittany at Taz_lover 74330 at yahoo.com. And Sandy, go ahead. And did you put your contact in earlier? Or if not, Sandy, go ahead and toss your contact information in there so you can reach any or all of us. And anyone that wants to listen or watch any of our replays, you can go to kathybinner.com. Everything I do is under kathybinner.com. That makes it nice and easy. You see my name right here in my little Hollywood square, as I like to say when we're on Zoom calls. I feel like we're on Hollywood squares. Yeah. And I'm dating myself, I know. Anyway, Kathy Binner, you can see my name right there. And so kathybinner.com is where you can find everything. So just scroll down the home page and you'll see the Ohio Writers Guild free meetups. And that's where you click through to get all the replays. And so with that, Brittany, I am going to also send you the link of the replay, and you are welcome to use it in whatever way works for you. You can use it in full or in part. If you want to use it on a website or in any of your art material, you're welcome to do that. And then I'll also add you as our gift to you to our Writers Guild, our actual speakers cabinet. And so that way you'll be listed there as well. So any questions from anyone that's been listening? Any questions for Brittany or for Sandy or myself?
If you would like to buy a book, I encourage you to go to Amazon.com.
Okay.
Yes, that's where you can find my books. And I also have one called The Not Me Ghost, which is not a part of the Tilly series, but it's more for the preschool crowd.
Okay.
Yes.
Just Brittany on Amazon.com and her books will come up.
Yeah, search for Brittany.
Yeah.
Or Brittany Crawford.
Perfect. And you're using your middle initial, I think.
Yes. On
Facebook. Okay, perfect. All
right.
That's
my personal Facebook.
Okay. Brittany, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate you coming on. Ryan says, thank you so much, Brittany. This has been very inspiring. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah. So now I got to get busy and get published. Doggone it.
Well, I want to read your book when it comes out.
Yeah.
September 6th, supposed to launch. Sylvia says, thank you, Brittany. Yeah. So you're getting lots of comments there.
Thank you all.
Yes. So this has been wonderful. Sandy, any last comments from you before we go?
No, I really give you a lot of kudos for what you've done. It's not easy. You think most of us are probably really, really good readers. And after a while, we think, oh, we could write a story. And then that blank page is looking at you thinking, man, I got to put some magic down here. Where do I get that? So you got it.
I always say, in order to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader.
Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. So.
Well, Brittany, your heart shows, your message is important. We're so happy to have you on our podcast this evening, and good vibes to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have a great
And
Thank you guys so much.
Sure.
yes. And
Sure.
best of luck, best wishes. Don't forget, folks that are listening in, tap into Sandy, get over to that writer's workshop coming up next year, and tap into kathybender.com and listen to our replays. We have all of the authors that we've interviewed so far. All of those replays are saved there in our library of replays, and that's where Brittany's will be as well. If you want to share this interview with someone you know that wants to write children's books and they're not sure where to get started, please feel free to share the link of the replay with anyone. And with that, I think we're going to call it an evening. And thank you so much, everyone, for being with us.
Yeah.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Continued success, Brittany.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.